The idea of the last tree on Earth may sound extreme and even unrealistic at first. However, when we look closely at current environmental trends, it becomes clear that this scenario is not entirely impossible. Forests around the world are shrinking at an alarming rate, and the systems that depend on them are becoming weaker every year. The concept of a world with only one remaining tree is not just a dramatic image, it is a powerful warning. Trees are one of the most important components of life on Earth. They are not simply part of the landscape, they actively support the balance of the entire planet. Through the process of photosynthesis, trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. This function alone makes them essential for survival. Without trees, the air we breathe would become increasingly polluted and oxygen levels would slowly decline. In addition to producing oxygen, trees act as natural climate regulators. They store carbon, reduce heat, and help stabilize weather patterns. Forests play a major role in controlling global temperatures. When large areas of forest disappear, more carbon is released into the atmosphere, which accelerates global warming. This creates a dangerous cycle where higher temperatures lead to more forest loss, and more forest loss leads to even higher temperatures. Trees also support an incredible amount of biodiversity. Forests are home to millions of species of animals, plants, and microorganisms. These ecosystems are complex and interconnected. If trees disappear, many species lose their habitat instantly. This can trigger a chain reaction where entire ecosystems collapse. The loss of biodiversity does not just affect wildlife, it also impacts humans, especially in areas like agriculture, medicine, and food security. Water systems are another critical area influenced by trees. Forests help regulate rainfall by releasing moisture into the atmosphere. They also protect the soil, preventing erosion and maintaining groundwater levels. Without trees, rainwater flows more quickly across the land, leading to floods in some areas and droughts in others. Over time, fertile land can turn into dry, unusable ground. Now imagine a future where only one tree remains. This tree would likely be protected with extreme care. It would be surrounded by scientists, monitored constantly, and treated as one of the most valuable resources on Earth. Governments might compete to control it. It could even become a symbol of hope or regret for humanity. But in reality, one tree cannot replace billions. It cannot maintain oxygen levels, regulate the climate, or support ecosystems. Its existence would be symbolic rather than functional. Life on Earth would already be in a severe state of collapse by the time such a situation occurs. The path toward this scenario is driven largely by human activity. Deforestation is one of the biggest causes. Every year, millions of hectares of forest are cut down for agriculture, urban expansion, and industrial use. Forests are cleared to grow crops like soy, palm oil, and cattle feed. Logging operations, both legal and illegal, remove valuable trees at a rate that forests cannot recover from. Urbanization also plays a role. As cities expand, forests are often destroyed to make space for buildings, roads, and infrastructure. This process is especially rapid in developing regions where economic growth is prioritized over environmental protection. Climate change makes the situation even worse. Rising temperatures increase the frequency and intensity of wildfires. These fires can destroy vast areas of forest in a short period of time. In addition, pests and diseases spread more easily in warmer conditions, weakening trees and making forests more vulnerable. Another important factor is poor environmental management. In some areas, forests are not protected effectively. Laws may exist, but they are not enforced. Corruption, lack of resources, and weak governance allow illegal activities to continue unchecked. The consequences of losing trees extend far beyond the environment. Economically, many industries depend on forests. Timber, paper, medicine, and tourism all rely on healthy ecosystems. Without trees, these industries would decline, leading to job losses and economic instability. Food production would also be affected. Soil quality depends heavily on the presence of trees. Without them, soil becomes dry, loose, and less fertile. Crops would be harder to grow and food shortages could become more common. This would increase prices and create pressure on already vulnerable populations. Health is another major concern. Trees help clean the air by filtering pollutants. Without them, air quality would worsen significantly. This could lead to an increase in respiratory diseases, especially in urban areas. Heat levels would also rise, making living conditions more difficult, particularly in regions that are already hot. There is also a deep cultural impact. Trees have always been part of human history. They appear in myths, religions, art, and daily life. Many communities have traditions connected to forests. Losing trees would mean losing part of human identity and heritage. But despite all these risks, the future is not fixed. The idea of the last tree on Earth is not a prediction, it is a warning. There are clear steps that can be taken to prevent this outcome. The first and most important step is protecting existing forests. This means enforcing laws against illegal logging and creating protected areas where ecosystems can recover and thrive. Governments need to take stronger action and prioritize environmental protection alongside economic development. Reforestation is another key solution. Planting trees can help restore damaged areas and rebuild ecosystems. However, it is not enough to simply plant trees randomly. The right species must be planted in the right locations. Natural ecosystems need to be restored carefully to ensure long-term success. Sustainable agriculture can also reduce the need for deforestation. By improving farming techniques, it is possible to produce more food without expanding farmland. This reduces pressure on forests and helps maintain environmental balance. Technology can support these efforts in powerful ways. Satellite monitoring allows real-time tracking of deforestation. This helps authorities respond quickly to illegal activities. Data analysis can also improve forest management and predict future risks. Renewable energy is another important factor. Many industries that contribute to deforestation are linked to energy production. By shifting to cleaner energy sources, it is possible to reduce environmental damage and protect natural resources. Individuals also have a role to play. Small actions, when multiplied across millions of people, can create significant impact. Reducing paper waste, supporting sustainable products, and being aware of environmental issues all contribute to long-term change. Education is critical in this process. When people understand the importance of trees, they are more likely to support conservation efforts. Schools, media, and communities all play a role in spreading awareness. International cooperation is equally important. Environmental issues do not stop at national borders. Countries need to work together to protect forests, share resources, and develop global solutions. Climate agreements and environmental policies must be taken seriously and implemented effectively. The story of the last tree on Earth is ultimately about responsibility. It reflects the choices humans make and the consequences of those choices. For centuries, nature has provided resources without limits. Now those limits are becoming clear. If action is taken now, forests can recover, ecosystems can stabilize, the balance between human development and nature can be restored. But if current trends continue without change, the risk becomes more real with each passing year. In the end, the last tree would not just be a tree. It would be a symbol, a reminder of what was lost and what could have been saved. It would stand alone in a world that once depended on millions like it. The question is not whether such a future is possible. The question is whether humanity is willing to act before it becomes reality.